What did you think about your experiences in Brazil with ayahuasca?
Well, actually was introduced to ayahuasca as a young teenager, maybe 14, the first time I did it. And I've only done it maybe 10 times between 14 and when I went down there this last time. But I feel like that probably played a big role in who I am today, because you really end up questioning a lot of things and seeing through a lot of kind of societal kind of bullshit filters. And yeah, for me, it's very, it feels like therapy in a way. You end up kind of seeing things how they are, and you end up seeing yourself in a different light and very objectively. And there's just around all of this, there's an overwhelming compassion and empathy and real humanness that it's the only reason I consider myself spiritual in any way is from my experiences with that. Besides that, I consider myself a pretty like a rational skeptic. I'm really very into questioning and logic and figuring out what's real and what's not. And, I'm really against superstition, which pervades in culture in so many different ways. Whether it be, religion or astrology or anything like that.
Economics.
Yeah. So I feel like that also kind of helped push me out of society.
Yeah. I'm with you.
And, maybe it's a coincidence that I probably dropped out of school within a year or two of doing ayahuasca for the first time. It's hard to say exactly what led to that decision, but I think it probably played a role.
Did you feel... I didn't do hallucinogens till I was in college, so I was 19. But did you feel, how to describe this? First time I did hallucinogens, it was mushrooms, Halloween night, 1980. And I felt like I've been here before.
Yes.
I know this world.
Yeah.
This is the real world.
Yes.
It was like all that other shit's a dream and this is real.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
You felt that.
Absolutely.
And that, I think then that's maybe just another way of saying what you just said, which is that it doesn't push you out of normal society, but it confirms your sense that this is an artificial construct in some way. Yeah, I'll never forget that feeling. That was a really powerful, like, holy shit, wow, I'm here again. Yeah.
Yeah, there is that sense of, like, a recognition of something that almost feels like before you were born.
Yeah. Yeah, some deeper truth that you forget about when you're awake for too long. So when you were at these ayahuasca, you went to a center?
No, so this is a kind of a unique experience. It's a gathering of shaman from a bunch of different medicine traditions in South America. So there was a couple guys from the Kaxinawa tribe from Western Brazil. There was the Umbandaime tradition, which has its roots in Africa, the African tradition of Umbanda, which is like spiritual possession. And there was a guy from Peru, there was a guy from Colombia, and we had a peyote shaman come down from the southwest of the U.S., and it's called a eagle condor. And it's a gathering of medicine from both North and South America, the eagle and the condor,
right? And
supposedly fulfilling an ancient tradition of the gathering of native people and the medicine traditions from both continents. And all of my experiences with ayahuasca before had been very personal. It was either me with my dad or me solo, and that. So this was very strange for me to be around a bunch of other people.
Right.
And, it was really, really interesting to be exposed to. For example, the Umbandaime is they have a lot of music and dancing. And, they have this temple that they built out in the jungle, and totally beautiful. And it was a different experience for sure than, lying alone in the dark with your eyes closed and kind of flying through the universe and seeing God, but it was, really interesting. And I still was able to get some personal insights as to, kind of working through some things that I needed to work through. So I got, some personal stuff, and a lot of it was really heavily steeped in empathy. Like, for example, I would go, like, have people from my past come into my consciousness really strongly, people that I've loved that are no longer in my life, ex-girlfriends that I've never, I have no contact with, never, my first loves, and they, each of them came to me at different points, and I really loved and appreciated them and thanked them for being in my life. And, and afterwards I ended up reaching out to the ones that I could, and, to people that I've wronged. I really wanted to make amends for that. Yeah, so it's felt very healing, and also like a empathy for myself, which was surprising. Because I tend to be really hard on myself and be very judgmental on, of a lot of things in my past. And I was able to kind of step outside of my own perception of myself and see myself from a third party objective, like see myself in very traumatic situations as a child, and instead of remembering it through my eyes as it happened, seeing it almost as if I was in the room watching, and like have so much compassion for myself in those situations. I feel like and it almost like it goes into your brain. You go into your brain and you open a closet that's of things you've forgotten and things that, aren't on the surface of your day-to-day mind, and you take these out and you're like, these are pretty solidified memories, and you go through and you take out all these folders and you reevaluate and you reposition and you pack them up in a different way and you put them back. It's going through the filing cabinets of your mind, spilling everything out, and then especially as you're kind of coming out of the experience in your mind, you start to see your mind put itself back together and your ego reconstruct itself, but a little bit differently. Yeah, I think it's really positive. I think it's really positive. And it definitely I don't have a heroin addiction or anything like that, but it can be really beneficial for people who have negative patterns in their life that they're trying to break. And I have talked to some people that were down there that were working through that type of stuff.
Yeah.
I think, probably in a similar way that I did, but, working through negative patterns in your life and kind of rebuilding